Hello and welcome students into the third lecture on voyaging towards excellence. We will take a quick recap. In the last lecture, we have seen Ratter is talking about his childhood, the kind of cultural milieu he had received in his childhood, and how it developed writer's interest in arts, music, and literature. Ryder has also talked about his problem solving attitude, and in the last paragraph, Ryder has told us about his complex regarding English speaking. Now, we will begin from the second paragraph on page number 80. First, let me read the paragraph. One day, I was sitting at my mess table in the hostel, sipping tea, when a senior guy came and sat on the chair adjacent to me. He was a convent educated guy with fairly sophisticated English, at least spoken or colloquial English. He was a bit arrogant and wanted to pull my leg. He tried to engage in some conversation with me and started pointing out errors in just about every sentence or everything that I said. After about 5 minutes, he walked away after insulting me. So, friends, this is a paragraph in which writer tells us about a humiliating experience he had in the mess. Writer talks about his encounter with a senior guy who was having a sophisticated English speaking skills. Here, sophisticated means elegant or refined, and he was a bit arrogant also, having excessive pride about himself, and how the boy was pulling his leg. Here, the phrase pulling someone's leg means teasing someone by telling him his faults or mistakes as a joke. Writer tells us the senior guy was pointing out mistake in every sentence of the writer, and after 5 minutes, he left the table after giving a lot of humiliation to the writer. Students, sometimes such humiliating experiences turns into turning points in our lives. Now, what had happened with the writer? Has he turned his humiliation into an energy to bring a positive change into him or not? We will see into the next paragraph. So, let me read it first. I felt extremely humiliated and upset. As it is, I was feeling quite depressed and diffident, and this incident was the last straw. I was also broken. I felt out of place there and literally wanted to run away to Solapur that very moment. However, it was only my self esteem which stopped me. Suddenly, a feeling of determination and strength came over me and gripped me. Despite hailing from Solapur, if I could be a rank holder in the school, college, and IIT with many awards in mathematics, there must be something right with me. Why should I give up? And that too for a silly and small thing like English? I was not to give up any more, and I was determined to fight back. So, here, writer tells us that he was feeling humiliated and upset. He was completely depressed and lack of confidence. Writer describes that incident as the last straw. Here, last straw means last in a series of bad things that happen to make someone very upset, angry, etc. Writer was so upset he wanted to run away from IIT and from Mumbai to Solapur. But he says his self esteem, that is his self respect, his confidence in himself, stopped him from taking that extreme step. Writer focused on his strengths and felt determined and decided not to give up for a small thing like English, and he decided to fight back. Now, next paragraph reads, as I climbed the stairs of my hostel room, my plan was ready in my mind. Normally, most of us who are educated in vernacular languages such as Marathi think in Marathi before speaking in English, translate it in English, and then somehow try to speak out these translated English sentences in an extremely awkward fashion. So, here A writer tells us what was going on in his mind when he was climbing back on the stairs of his hostel room. He was ready with a plan. Here, writer tells us the process of how native speakers speak in English. First, they think in Marathi, then translate in English, word to word, and then, in an awkward fashion, try to speak in English. Next paragraph. I had decided that I would do nothing of this sort. I wanted to achieve excellence. This urge to excel in anything that you try to do has been with me since the childhood. Whether I would succeed in this or not, I always set my aims high. In this case, too, I wanted to speak excellent, elegant, and fluent English. Students, here writer tells us that he had decided not to follow this vernacular way of speaking English. He wanted to excel in anything he did. He says he always wanted to set his goal high, and in the same way, in the case of English speaking, he wanted to be excellent, elegant, and fluent. Next paragraph. The first thing I did was to start reading English newspapers and English novels. I studied etymology and phonetics and studied the roots of the words and how to pronounce them. I used to stand in front of the mirror and practice speaking, realizing my mistakes and correcting them myself all the time and improvising and improving day by day. So this is a paragraph where writer tells us what methods he had followed to master English. First, he started reading English newspapers and novels. He studied etymology. Here, etymology means origin and historical development of a word. He studied phonetics, means study of correct pronunciation of words. He used to practice speaking by standing in front of the mirror, correcting the mistakes, and improvising and improving himself day by day. Next paragraph. It took about 9 to 10 months, by which time I started feeling quite confident about speaking in English at length with anybody. My fear had vanished and I started feeling at home in my hostel. In my future career, out of 32 years in information technology field, I was the chief executive or managing director or head of software company with thousands of software engineers worldwide. During that period, I had to give several presentations or negotiate many contracts with the CEOs, directors, or VPs in the United States, United Kingdom, or Australia. I was absolutely at ease at that time. It is only due to the efforts at IIT that I could sign contracts worth millions of dollars worldwide and also run large global software companies. Students, in this paragraph, writer tells us that after about 9 to 10 months, he started feeling confident about speaking in English. He overcame his inferiority complex and started feeling comfortable in his hostel. Writer further tells us how his English speaking skills proved helpful throughout his 32 years information technology career. Here writer acknowledges efforts taken by him at IIT and give credit to these efforts for contracts worth $1 million worldwide. Next paragraph reads, at IIT, I got fairly good marks in my first 2 years. However, a very important thing happened while I was in my third year. I came in contact with about 15 to 20 extremely brilliant students, researchers, professors from IIT, TIFR, and BARC. They included top ranking students from IIT, visiting professors in American universities, and very renowned mathematicians in the world, and so on. I was instantaneously attracted to this group. This friendship had a lasting impact on my life. Until that time, I used to consider myself somewhat intelligent. However, after I met my friends in our group, I came to know what real brilliance meant, and I realized where I stood. I was actually also very lucky that I came in contact with great people on the global scale every early in my life. Later in my life, when Mr. Narayan Murthy left Patni to start Infosys, I started heading Patni's software division, occupying the same chair. My head office was in Cambridge, Massachusetts, USA, very near Boston. It was, in fact, the adjacent building to MIT in America. I had to visit the US every few months in those days. I used to visit MIT during lunchtime to meet my friends. There, one could see a couple of Nobel laureates at the dining table. If you walked for an hour from there, you could reach Harvard Square near Harvard University. I used to visit both of these universities and could talk to a number of Nobel laureates. During these years, I traveled a lot to the US, Europe, Japan, and Australia, and could meet a number of great thinkers and management gurus such as Alvin Toffler, Peter Drucker, C.K. Prahlad, Tom Peters, or great technologists such as Vincent Cerf, who designed TCP oblique IP, which is the basic protocol of internet. All these discussions with these great broadened my horizon, and my aims and worldview became global. It taught me humility and made me realize that I had to achieve a lot in life. The lesson in humility and hard work, as well as passion for excellence, was going to play a very important and vital role in my life. In this paragraph, writer tells us about an important happening in his life when he was in IIT. Writer tells us about his good ranks in the first 2 years of IIT, and in the third year of IIT, how he came in contact with about 15 to 20 very brilliant students, oblique researchers, professors from IIT, that is Indian Institute of Technology. TIFR means Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, and BARC means Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Some of them were toppers from IIT, some were visiting professors from American universities, whereas some of them were worldwide renowned mathematicians. And writer got quickly attracted to this group. This group of extremely intelligent friends made writer realize what real brilliance is. Then writer tells us he was a successor of Mr. Narayan Murthy in Patni when he left it to start Infosys. Writer tells us about his head office in Cambridge, Massachusetts, USA, near MIT, and how during lunchtime in MIT he could see a couple of Nobel laureates taking lunch. And at Harvard Square, he was he used to get an opportunity to talk to Nobel laureates. Writer says those were the years when he traveled a lot to US, Europe, Japan, and Australia. And he met great thinkers and management gurus like Alvin Toffler, Peter Drucker, C.K. Prahlad, and Tom Peters, and great technologists such as Vincent Cerf. Students, Vincent Cerf is one who developed TCP oblique IP, basic protocol of internet. TCP means transmission control protocol and IP means internet protocol. It allows digital computers to communicate over long distance. It is said that a man is known by his company, and in the company of these great minds, writer's perspective got broadened and he learned the importance of humility, and these things played an important and vital role in his life. So, friends, today in this video we will stop here. See you in the next video on the same lesson, voyaging towards Earth. Till then, goodbye and take care.